Picture this, a government shutdown that's already stretched into its 30th day, leaving millions of Americans scrambling without paychecks, delayed flights, and skyrocketing health insurance costs. It's a crisis that's hitting families hard from coast to coast. And President Donald Trump has just thrown out a bold, game-changing idea to fix it. But here's where it gets controversial. Trump is urging the Senate to ditch the filibuster altogether, a move that could reshape how Congress does business forever. Intrigued? Let's dive deeper into this unfolding drama and unpack what it all means, step by step, so even newcomers to politics can follow along. In a fiery post on his social media platform, Truth Social, late Thursday night, Trump demanded action. The choice is clear. Initiate the nuclear option. Get rid of the filibuster. For those not steeped in Senate lingo, the filibuster is a time-honored trick lawmakers use to stall or halt votes by dragging out debates endlessly. Normally, it takes a supermajority, 60 out of 100 senators, to shut it down and force a vote. With Republicans holding a slim 53-seat edge, this rule gives Democrats a powerful tool to block legislation, which is exactly what sparked the shutdown on October 1st when the new fiscal year kicked off. Trump's proposal would let the GOP majority steamroll ahead without needing those extra votes, potentially reopening the government without Democratic approval. Trump didn't come to this call lightly. He shared that he pondered it deeply during his flight back from Asia, where he wrapped up a whirlwind tour, visiting leaders in Malaysia, Japan, South Korea, and even sitting down with China's Xi Jinping. He hailed the trip as a win, thanks to a trade truce with China and pledges of foreign investment in U.S. industries. But amid the diplomatic highs, one question kept popping up from global counterparts. Why are powerful Republicans letting Democrats bring parts of the government to a grinding halt? It was a pointed reminder of the political tug-of-war back home. This push to end the filibuster comes at a pivotal moment. Some senators and House Speaker Mike Johnson are signaling it's time to wrap up the shutdown. Yet, it's anyone's guess whether they'll rally behind Trump's nuclear option or stick to negotiating with the other side. Either way, the real-world fallout is already spilling into everyday lives. In Alaska, folks are hoarding moose, caribou, and fish ahead of winter, bracing for the potential cutoff of SNAP benefits. That's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which helps about 1 in 8 Americans afford enough food. In Maine, people are topping off their heating oil tanks, but holding out hope for federal subsidies that are nowhere to be seen. Holiday flights are getting bumped. Workers are missing paychecks, and many are facing sticker shock from health insurance premiums that are jumping through the roof. As Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska put it, people are stressing, especially with food options dwindling. And this is the part most people miss. While quiet bipartisan chats are happening among senators, the shutdown might not budge before Saturday, when the risk of widespread hunger could turn into a stark reality if SNAP funds dry up. The White House has juggled budgets to keep our military paid, but it's refusing to dip into funds for food aid. In fact, Trump's big beautiful bill from this summer included the deepest cut ever to SNAP, potentially knocking about 2.4 million people off the program. It's a move that's drawing sharp criticism. Imagine prioritizing defense over feeding the hungry. Meanwhile, open enrollment for health insurance is kicking off Saturday, and premiums are soaring. Reverend Ryan Stowis captured the outrage during a prayer gathering at the Capitol, saying, "We are holding food over the heads of poor people so that we can take away their health care. God help us when the cruelty is the point." With the House closed for the month under Johnson's leadership and senators heading out for a long weekend, the shutdown seems poised to extend into next week if the filibuster stays intact. It could even break the record for the longest shutdown, edging out the 35-day standoff in 2019 during Trump's first term, which was over border wall funding. The next big shift might come after Tuesday's off-year elections, including races for New York City's mayor and governors in Virginia and New Jersey. Once the dust settles and parties gauge voter sentiment, they might finally buckle down for a deal. Senate Majority Leader John Thune of South Dakota hopes so, saying, "I hope that it frees people up to move forward with opening the government." But here's where it gets really divisive. The Republicans, now in control of Congress, are in the awkward spot of defending the very programs and workers they've long wanted to trim, such as the nearly $1 trillion in cuts from Trump's big tax and spending bill. Programs like Medicaid and SNAP took major hits this summer, partly through stricter work requirements. For SNAP, which already demanded some recipients work, the rules now apply to those up to age 64 and parents of older school kids. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries from New York calls it outrageous, accusing Republicans of using food aid as a bargaining chip. "We are trying to lift up the quality of life for the American people. The American people understand there's a Republican healthcare crisis. They understand Republicans enacted the largest cut to nutritional assistance in American history when they cut $186 billion from their one big ugly bill." During the debates over that bill, Johnson and other GOP leaders framed these changes as necessary to fight waste, fraud, and abuse. They painted a picture of able-bodied young men lounging on video games while collecting benefits, insisting work rules would make everyone better off. A win-win-win. But is it? Critics argue it unfairly burdens vulnerable groups without addressing systemic issues like job availability or costs of living. And looming large is the expiration of health subsidies at year's end, which help many afford insurance. Democrats are pushing to extend them, but Republicans say they'll tackle it after the government reopens. As premiums rise and subsidies vanish, countless families could find coverage out of reach. So what do you think? Is Trump's call to scrap the filibuster a bold step toward efficiency? Or does it risk turning the Senate into a rubber stamp that silences minority voices? Should work requirements be tightened to weed out gaming the system, or are they just a cruel way to punish the needy? And what about those massive cuts to SNAP? Necessary fiscal discipline or an attack on the most vulnerable? I'd love to hear your take. Agree, disagree, or somewhere in between? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's discuss.